So guys, I just want to quickly add this on a personal note. I want to dedicate this video to a couple of citizens who are no longer with us and haven't been for a while, but they are missed every single day. Members of the org, friends of mine, used to play in the verse together all the time. Major Havoc, who passed away at the age of 35 in 2018. Urios X1, who passed away at the age of 29 in 2019. You guys are sorely missed, and the verse is a more empty place without you. So, yeah, on this video about the community, I just didn't feel it would be right to make this video and talk about the community without talking about two of the brightest stars who are no longer shining. So, yeah, alright, on with the video. Hey guys, Demoman here with another video. That's right, we're back at it again, and today, for something a little different, we're going to be talking about the verse. But not in the usual thing, which is ships, star systems, balancing mechanics. We're going to be talking about you guys, the community. That's right, that includes me, you know. I'm not just a voice on a microphone, I play the game too. A little bit about my background. I've been playing this game a little over a decade now, I guess it's been, and I took a few breaks here and there because of, you know, life being life, but yeah, I've followed the project a lot longer than that, and what drew me into the concept of Star Citizen the most was listening to the very early days of Chris Roberts talk about, like, his goals for the game and stuff, and then seeing the Reclaimer, the concept artwork, seeing that Star Citizen wasn't just going to be this clean-cut universe where everything is sort of cookie-cutter and clean. Here was this big, grungy, pretty much, you could say, ugly thing, and I fell in love with it immediately. I was like, wow, that is awesome. And then I saw the price tag, and I was like, yeah, screw that. And I took a break. And then I came back to the project, and I remember buying a starter pack. I bought the Mustang Alpha starter pack, and it's like the early Mustang, like. And I'll throw some footage on the screen real quick of some of the footage from those days when I started playing. And it was Porto, and there was a Kovalex shipping hub, I believe, and Tessa Bannister and all that good stuff. And the game was relatively simple, right? You had your spacesuit, and you kind of just messed about with the current game features, and most of the fighting was done in Arena Commander. That's where you really got your PvP on, right? Because the universe wasn't really a thing. It was more like a glorified tech demo. And as I've played the game through the years, I noticed that there was a steady bounce of players who were leaning more to being griefers, were kind of out of the ordinary, and the majority of players were either huge fans of the project and RPers, right, role players and stuff going around, and even pirates, right, like pirate role players, because you couldn't really steal cargo back then, properly at least. And the universe was a really fun place. Someone would break down somewhere or be like, hey, I need a ride, and they'd type in chat, could someone give me a lift? And immediately the chat would be flooded with people that want to help, and they wouldn't be doing it for credits, they'd be doing it just because they want to help. And the universe was a fun place back then, but it was a very fun place because the people made it a fun place. In terms of gameplay activities, it was extremely limited, and this is moving forwards, right? Now, fast forward a few more years, and server meshing gets added, right? So suddenly the population of each lobby explodes. There's tons of people in each game, and the universe is still relatively tame. Things are still relatively balanced. You know, you have a good balance between the worst kind of people and the best of us, right? Like, there are those out there who are Star Citizen saints. You know, like, your average player is a relatively level-headed kind of guy, right? He'll open the chat every once in a while and he'll see someone's like, hey, I need a lift, and he'll be like, ha, not today, murder hobo, and close the chat and continue on his merry way. But your Star Citizen Saint will be like, you know what, I'm gonna save this guy. And you know what I'm also gonna do? If he's got no food or nourishment, I'll quickly stop off at a station and grab some of that too, just to make sure he doesn't die on the journey. That's your Star Citizen Saint. Your Star Citizen Saint will go out there and look for those in need, find a new player, teach him the ropes, give him some extra UEC out of his own wallet, and send him on his merry way. Now, there's a flip side to this, and it sort of is an iceberg almost of how bad does it get. And it gets pretty bad. Those people have no place in Star Citizen, or any game, really. I mean, if you're gonna cheat at a game, what's the point in playing? Maybe they don't have a sense of accomplishment, or maybe they're just after that instant gratification. But I don't understand how anyone can receive gratification through winning through cheats, but that's just me, right? It's not how I operate. I prefer a hard-earned victory over one that's handed to me on a plate. And, yeah, so that's the worst of it almost. And I say almost because there are certain types of players which just have me, like, you know, sort of scratching my head like, how? Why do you exist? It's like, what is your function? You know what I mean? Need to turn this guy into Soylent Green. It's the only way he'll be benefiting the community. So, the worst of us are the people who go out their way to ruin new players' experiences. Go after unarmed cargo vessels in a military grade A, like military Hornet as an example, right? The one you can't buy, the one you have to have get it from Wicklow, or you basically got one of the golden tickets to buy one. A fully kitted out one of those, and he just goes after players and vultures, moles, and prospectors. That player right there is an absolute turd, right? In my opinion. Now, the reason he's a turd is because he's not benefiting anybody's experience. He's blown up a few ships, and there's nothing in it for him, right? There's no challenge. There's no, you know, hunt, so to speak. He just goes out, oh, look, a vulture. Boom, dead. There you go. And on the flip side, that vulture might just be coming back after, like, maybe he's been doing his thing for like 40 minutes and he's got a full hold, and he's now coming back to sell his goods. Now he's just lost 40 minutes of his life for nothing. Now, don't get this twisted. I'm not talking about pirates, right? Pirates actually do have a place in Star Citizen. They're like you love to hate them types, right? And this is where pirate players, RPers, mining teams, salvage teams, pirate hunters, and everybody stands united, right? Is against griefers. We all can't stand them because we don't respect them at all, because there is nothing to respect. But for the griefer, I guess, like, there is a life cycle to them, and I've noticed this in many games. What'll happen is someone will be a trader or a mining guy or a salvage guy, and he'll go out there, get griefed, and one of two things will happen. One, he'll be like, oh man, that sucked, you know, and move on, right? Or two, he'll turn into a griefer himself almost, right? So he'll go out there and be like, you know what, screw everyone who plays this game. I don't need to, like, you know, contribute. If I can't have a good experience, why should anyone else, right? And they have that really selfish attitude. And most people don't really, you know, they realize it's actually a really mind-rot activity, using some of that new slang. But some griefers will turn around and be like, you know what, this sucks. I don't like doing this. I feel like I'm wasting my time, but I'm also wasting other people's time. How about I try and contribute instead? And then all of a sudden, they get something back from it. They start to feel good. They're like, hey, you know what? This is fun. I'm actually enjoying this. And some Star Citizen saints out there just might be those griefer pilots from back in the day. The guys who caused a lot of trouble, who then instead decided to go looking for griefers and test their mettle and actually strengthen their skills as combat pilots against griefers. And griefers, most of them, have no fighting skill whatsoever, right? That's why they go after these easy marks and easy targets. Griefers also include retaliator pilots, Polaris pilots who bomb ships that clearly have a player in them and are immobile and not hostile, not doing anything wrong, doesn't pose a threat. They blow it up because they can. Those are also griefers, but they're like the worst kind because that takes no skill. Oh, I've got a lock. I push a button. There you go. Like, come on, guys. Now, after that, things get relatively comical, okay? So, buckle up. So after that, there's an interesting type of players who aren't griefers, but they're not really good for good for the verse either, right? And what I mean is, it's the zombies, the loiterers, you know, the people who take up space and don't provide anything but to be a nuisance, right? And I love to hate these guys because I have run into them quite literally, right? So So I laugh about it now, but I was mad as hell at the time. So loiterers, okay, so you have little time, you gotta log off, right? And you want to quickly land your ship, and you try to grab a pad, and there's none, right? That's one, right? And usually what that means is there's a ton of these loiterers sitting in their pads, just hovering off the pad, ready to take off, but they're not quite taking off yet. Or it's the dude at the damn terminal, right? You've got your crew together, everyone's ready to do the mission or whatever, and loads of people are in the same station, everyone's calling in their ships. And then there's that one guy who doesn't move from the terminal, and he just stays there forever. Now, usually it's not a problem, there's enough of these terminals that get freed up, but during an event, it can get very busy, and there are queues that form, and then you'll find that one dude, and sometimes you'll get a pack of them if you're really unlucky. Now, bear in mind, some people have a lot of ships in Star Citizen, and I mean a lot, right? I'm talking about an absolute, we're like, you scroll through the list, these guys have got lists that are like the credits for a movie. So those guys have an excuse. If they are calling in all of their ships to be delivered to that station so they have everything in one place, fair enough, right? Do your thing. But if you go AFK at a terminal, don't be that guy, especially at the shops, right, or the kiosks, or the kiosks in, say, a gun store, right? Someone in there and they're buying a gun, and then you just go AFK for like 15 minutes or whatever because you want to go do something, but you don't move your player character. You just sit at the terminal. What happens is you create a choke point where everybody has to wait in line for the people who are actually buying stuff, and it's a nightmare, right? So the other side of the loiterers is actually dangerous. These guys are hilarious, right? And the reason I'm laughing is because otherwise I'd be furious, right? I'll bust a vein. So what happens is these guys, they'll fly above a hangar and they'll exit it. It's usually medium and small hangars around stations or planet side. They'll get just high enough so they don't get impounded, but just low enough so that if you leave in a hurry, you're going to hit them. And it happened to me. I got the Asgard out. It's my very first time flying it. I was super stoked. I'm like, oh man, the Asgard. Sweet. Can't wait to try this thing out. I took off. I went straight up, right? VTOLs, straight up. And not even, I'd say, a meter above where the doors open was a Cutlass Black just sitting there. He was just sitting there. And I hit him. And it ripped off an engine. And I'm like, are you for real, my guy? Are you for real? I just basically hovered there for a second, like, huh. And then he turned his ship, looked at me, and flew directly into me, killing himself, giving me a crime stat, causing the station to open up on me. Now, out of determination and spite, I decided to continue my mission with my busted Asgard and do my bounties with 3 engines, and was successful. Now, was it a fun experience? Not particularly, but I still got it done out of spite. But loiterers, oh my god, you guys, come on, what are you doing, right? Turn off your other screen, stop watching your damn TV show or whatever it is, and just move your character or your ship just a few meters to the left. Give us a break, If you want to go AFK, you know what? Just sit your character down at the space station or sit him on a chair. That way you actually become part of the universe. You now are a set piece. You are part of the decoration rather than being a pain in someone's ass. So, yeah, loiterers. Loiterers make me laugh. Now, as you can tell, it's getting more and more lighthearted here, and that's the point. So we went from the worst, now we're getting into the not so bad and stuff. And so loiterers are up there. Apart from that, murder hobos. Now, the reason they're not worse than loiterers is it's a very real world thing, right? Hitchhikers. You pick up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker turns to you and says, hey man, aren't you worried I'm a serial killer? And you turn around to them and go, ha, the odds of us both being serial killers are very astronomically low. That sort of thing, right? So, hitchhikers are dangerous in the real world, and I believe they should be in Star Citizen. Not everyone you pick up is going to be a friendly guy, you know what I mean? There are going to be some murder hobos out there who are basically pirates, right? They're there with, oh, I just need a ride, could you give me a hand? Come on, man, I'm struggling here. It's like, then you give them a ride, next thing you know, blap, you're dead. It's like, and they've picked your bones clean and they stole your ship. Now, yeah, that's a thing. That's why what I usually like to do is, if I'm picking someone up, I'll have someone else on board my ship who I already trust, who's armed to the teeth, who'll be watching them like a bulldog, right? You know, or like a... like Ed 209, he's just waiting for you to point a gun, you know what I mean? Now we're into sort of the neutral zone, right? But the neutral zone is interesting because you have a mixture of good and evil, sort of. So you have bounty hunters. Bounty hunters, I would say, are right in that neutral zone where some bounty hunter players will offer aid. They'll give you a hand. Some, if there is like you're in a lawless zone, might see you as competition if you're also in a combat ship and try and blow you out the sky. You know, you're both after the same bounty. It makes sense. Bounty hunters are allowed to be a bit of a dick. You know what I mean? It's the same as pirates. You know, there's kind of in their nature. You know, now you can get bounty hunters who are extremely lawful good, as the saying goes in today's world. Lawful good bounty hunters. You know, they exist. They're decent players. They go out there. They help those who they can, and sometimes they do things pro bono. You know what I mean? They'll go out there. Oh, you know, you've been harassed by a pirate, but he doesn't have a crime stat because we're in pyro? Well, I'll help you, you know, and they're like, macho man, go to save the day. And, yeah, that's cool. I have respect for those guys, mainly because that's a similar play style to how I play the game. Now, we'll get to that at the very end of all this. So, as we've talked about griefers and all that sort of stuff, and we have to differentiate griefers from pirates, because there's a huge difference. Pirates actually add something to the verse. You need them, right? Now, my organization, we go after pirates, we hunt them down. But to all you pirate players watching this, I do salute you guys for one reason. You add so much fun to sometimes an already bland situation, and you don't grief. You don't take it too far, right? You don't go after dudes in Auroras. You don't go after starter players in their Mustangs. What you're looking for is a Hull C fully loaded that's on its way to drop off its cargo. You ambush him, you know what I mean? You try and get him to surrender peacefully. You park in front of him. And if he doesn't comply, you shoot the hell out of his ship and you soft death it, and you just take what you want off of it by force. Now, being a good pirate involves three things. 1, knowing how to pick your targets. 2, being fast and efficient when stripping them of cargo. 3, weighing up every single conflict, looking at the clock, where and when you take place, like with these events that you do. The things that you do, you have to know where and when, right? Some pirate players give you the courtesy of actually contacting you and be like, Arvast, you surrender ye cargo, or else have your ass plundered, you know what I mean? We'll fill you full of lead and we'll blow you full of holes if you don't drop your stuff. That kind of thing. Or they'll just soft death your ship. Now, that I believe is needed in the game. We need these guys. I need these guys. I go after them for fun. That's my gameplay loop, or one of them is hunting down pirate players, and so is my org. That's our whole purpose. So yeah, pirates are needed. Bounty hunters needed. These guys are in the neutral zone, and they actually add gameplay dynamic. Now we go over to the more good side of the spectrum, I'd say. And on that list, well, I'd say just teetering on the list is early first mercenaries. You guys. Mercenaries are great. Fantastic, you know what I mean? Going out, you're clearing out bunkers, you're turning back on the comms towers to keep everybody safe and keep making sure the criminals get their crime stats. And you're going from base to base, taking out pirates and whatever. You guys are amazing. Now, pirates are obviously doing the same thing. You're turning off the comms tabs and you're going around raiding those bases, but you're not hurting like new players by griefing them along the way. You're part of the game. Now, mercenaries are basically on the other side of that. Now, we go in for more positive players, I've noticed. The more good players, you could say. Now, first on the list, I'll say salvage. You guys are shady as hell. You guys are a whole new tier of shady. So, salvage teams, apart from your obvious insurance frauds, yeah, no, you're relatively okay. Unless you go down and you see a new player land, he's like doing his first bunker, you just go like, well, that Aurora could be some easy salvage. Yeah, no, don't do that. Please don't. Don't be that guy. So, salvage teams, you guys are shady as hell, but you're still decent. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give you guys the good guy sort of moniker, so to speak. You're not bad. You're not great. You're all right. You know what I mean? Next up on the list is now space truckers, traders. the absolute backbone of Star Citizen. You guys rock. I love you guys. I love seeing your ships flying back and forth, especially the whole seas. Whenever I see a whole sea, I see a smile on my face, and it's like, yes, you know what I mean? There goes the Versus working, man. It's the same thing when I see Vulture pilots, too. You guys are on the grind all the time. Traders, you guys are amazing. You guys keep the verse turning, right? Traders will oftenly share good trade routes in the chat. They will give out advice. They make videos even demonstrating how to optimize your ship and how to do this for trading. Traders love to share how they make their money and how much of it they have. Like, they will often share advice just so they could tell you that they are one of the most wealthy, like, you know, whole sea pilots in the verse. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hello there, scrub. Let me show you how I made all these millions. You know, they're like the Monopoly guy. They're good guys because they actually lift everybody up with them, right? You want to go one step further, it's mining teams. You guys are like, I don't know, like that movie, Armageddon, right? You guys get together in that mole, and you go after that Quantanium, where it's like, we might not make it back, but we're gonna try. Who's with us? You know, write in the chat. Anyone want to join? And they often pick up players who are relatively new, and they'll teach them the ropes. They'll invite them to a party, get them to a Discord, and teach you how to play the game when it comes to mining. And they will actually give you your cut. They won't just rob you blind. Now, obviously, you're gonna have some scummy player out there who tries to get the whole slave labor thing going and doesn't pay anyone. You guys go out there and you bust rocks and that sort of stuff. Now, me personally, I'm not big into mining. I don't mind salvage, it's relatively relaxing, but I'm more of a combat kind of guy. And traders, you guys, I don't know how you do it, man. Loading them boxes, unloading the boxes, loading more boxes, unloading boxes. Now, I thought loading and unloading missiles onto the deck of my ship for the combat pilots who land in the Idris was bad, right? Or Idris, you know what I mean? I thought that was bad, but you guys loading the sheer quantities of cargo that you actually move, like you spending 15 minutes unloading your ship or whatever sometimes, it's astronomical to me, the amount of time you pour into it. So I have so much respect for you guys. You're amazing, you know what I mean? Give yourselves a huge pat on the back. Salvage teams, mining teams, you guys are the best. So further up the tree, now we get into the types of people, so to speak, which is the Star Citizen saints and, you know, the good doers, the helpers, and this sort of stuff. And I've noticed something interesting. Some of the best combat pilots I've ever run into in Star Citizen are actually really good people to the verse. They'll help people, they'll give advice, they'll tell you what guns to use. They'll, you know what I mean? They'll say, hey man, change that loadout, replace it with this on your ship, it'll be way more effective. Oh, what setup do you have? Do you have dual sticks, or are you using keyboard and mouse? They help you. Meanwhile, also being godly untouchable in a dogfight, right? The best pilots are that way. Obviously, you're going to get an oddball every once in a while who's a little bit screwy, Louie in the brain, and just goes after anything that moves. Yeah, I'd say they're good people, more or less. Now, my gameplay style, I guess, is I try to be a good person. You know what I mean? I make YouTube videos, I guess. That's my way of contributing something here. And I try to advise people on what weapons to use and all that sort of stuff. But more often than not, I mainly focus after, like, going after griefers and fighting other organizations. Now, other organizations, they might be, you know, have a bounty on them or whatever, and they might be good people, but I'll still go after them because they got that bounty. Or I'm defending an OLP with my org, and they're getting a little too close, give them a warning, then all hell breaks loose. It doesn't matter who's a good guy or a bad guy in that situation, it's just who's alive at the end of it, right? So, yeah, that's more my playstyle. I try to help people along the way, but I mainly go after bounties with my friends. And my main thing to do in the game is play with my org mates. That's what we do. We just go into the verse, we'll pick an activity, and we'll make it happen, right? But yeah, so my advice is, if you are a griefer and you're watching this video, you're probably salty as hell right now and fuming. You've probably written your comment in all caps like, oh, I hate you, demo man. I hope you choke and die. You know what I mean? I hope your ships all hit the planet's surface because of a lag spike. You know what I mean? What I want to say is, there's no need to be a griefer. You can be awesome. And yeah, you can be the best kind of awesome, right? You can be the kind of person that a new player looks up to and wants to aspire to be like. You can be that positive memory for someone. And that's basically my general advice. Now, the thing that inspired me to make this video in particular was a couple of comments I read. One was, killing abandoned ships into AFKers is called target practice. Now, abandoned ships, go for it. You're cleaning up the server and you're fixing it for the rest of us, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, salvage crews, you guys are great for doing that too. You're actually saving us. Another one was when someone said to me in one of the comments, you know who you are and I hope you see this video. I just think you're a little bit on the wrong end of the stick here, which was, go play Starfield. Look, I hate to be harsh, but this behavior falls squarely on CIG. They push for PvP every chance they get, then don't provide enough content nor fix serious bugs. Players get bored or frustrated and take it out on other players. Now, I get that, but that sounds to me personally like a serious lack of accountability. Now, maybe it's something that just comes with age, right? But when you take away reason and accountability, that's when you usually get griefers. That's how they exist. I remember when there was no gameplay, right? None. Like, the gameplay was go to Tessa Bannister, then go, like, to this area and try and find something, or go to the Kovalex shipping hub and be a PI and do the same mission every day with maybe a friend or two, where you know the outcome, right? You know what you're doing, but you do it because there's nothing else to do. And you do the same things over and over again, but you still don't go out your way to blow up someone else doing the same gig, right? It's pointless. So, people who are griefing now either don't know how to make their own fun, or aren't enjoying the game. So that guy who told me to go play Starfield, my advice to you is, if you're not having a good time, maybe go play something else yourself. So yeah, thank you guys for leaving those comments, because you inspired me to make this video. I was making another video, I'm still working on that. The next video I was working on was Star Citizen, decorating your ship in the future, and actually living on your ship and in the verse, what it will possibly be like. Things that seem alien to us now that will seem ordinary then. That's kind of what I want my next video to be. So this one was more about you guys, the community. Now, I would love you guys to tell me your stories of encountering griefers and encountering good people too. I want to know about your trials and tribulations, you know what I mean? But yeah, overall, as a community, guys, the Star Citizen community, the community's pretty dang good. Now, there is a bit of a media circus going on right now where it's sort of like fashionable to hate on the game. I don't hate on the game. I know it's an alpha, right? I know it's been an alpha for a long time, but for what we're getting, it's gonna take a long time, you know what I mean? And I've been here for 10 years, man, so what can I say, you know what I mean? Take it from me, that's just my opinion. Now, I'm not gonna say everything CIG does is perfect, right? Now, this might give you a giggle, so I'm gonna list off some issue council problems and some issues I've discovered myself. Now, me and my buddy Machine were playing a little game called Will It Fuse, and what that is what works as a fuse on board your ship. Turns out potted plants work, blood bags work, certain things work, but the one that had me in stitches and laughing my head off was turtles. That is right, turtles doubles as a fuse. So if you're ever in a pinch and your ship gets shut down and one of your buddies has a pet turtle on board, I'm afraid it's time for that turtle to make the ultimate sacrifice. Now, the animal rights team might stop your ship mid-quantum and come aboard your ship to find a deeply fried turtle in your fuse box, but your excuse can be, hey man, we need to get to our destination and there was no other options. We're all out of potted plants. So, yeah, there's lots of items that shouldn't fuse, including the lamp. The pyro lantern doubles as a fuse. Now, that one I actually like because it looks really cool, and it lights up the whole fuse box with this sort of orange, creepy, grim, dark kind of glow. And I love that. But it's not meant to function in that way. Another problem with fuses is, if a fuse pops, especially on the Idris, I've noticed, you can't pull the dead fuse, and that's a huge problem. There are lots of fuses around the ship that don't seem to do much, but when an important one, like the ones on the bridge, go, you're really in trouble. Also, entering quantum for some reason destroys fuses too, so watch out for that right now. So like I said, I'm not gonna sing CIG's praises when they make mistakes. Like the Flight Blade scandal was an absolute shotgun to the face on their part. Real big mistake. I mean, I actually don't know what they were thinking. Maybe the marketing team don't play the game. I don't know. But that was a mistake. But for the most part, CIG worked really, really hard to give us the best possible product. And I know a lot of people are mad, right? And I get it. You have a right to be mad. We all have a right to be mad. But at the same time, just cool your jets sometime. Don't board the hate train and, you know what I mean, spool that drive up, because that doesn't fix things. Chris Roberts actually does watch videos, read comments and things like that, and sees things that people are doing, and that he gets mad at himself. People are like, hey, how are they able to do that in the game? They're not supposed to do that. And, oh, why isn't this fixed yet? Chris Roberts does want us to have the best possible game. You need to remember, guys, acting like he doesn't care. This is his legacy, and his name has gone through a real turbulent time if you know his history. Like, he has been dragged through the mud. Star Citizen is his redemption arc, right? And so is Squadron 42. He needs this to be a success, not only financially, because pretty much most of the money has been spent at this point, but not only financially, but also because he wants to play this game, guys. And so does a lot of the senior team, those who are still left. Now, a lot of the people who have left the project, who are design leads and senior programmers, left the project because their contracts expired, and some of them didn't want to renew their contract because it is a harsh working environment. Look at Halo as a perfect example. They signed a deal with Microsoft to make a certain amount of games. Now, instead of producing 5 Master Chief games, they finished Master Chief Story with 3, and they felt that it was fine to leave there. So they made Halo ODST and Halo Reach. And then when their contract with Microsoft was done, Bungie just gave up Halo and was like, here you go, have it, we're done. That broke my heart. I loved Halo. Halo CE for me was my first person experience, I guess. But back to Star Citizen. What I'm trying to get at here is, I love this project because of its ambition, what it potentially can be. And yeah, I think the community is what will make or break it. Yeah, of course, there's certain tech things that need to come and play. We need to have more than just 2 systems. But at the same time, server meshing also needs to be expanded so that even more players are on each sort of like server or shard or whatever it's called, and all of that. But all in all, guys, what I'm trying to say here is Star Citizen's community will make or break the game. My advice is take all the hate that you see online these days, especially in the videos, with a pinch of salt, and make your own mind up. Basically, it's the same thing that's true for anything in life, you know what I mean? Keep a level head on your shoulders, make your mind up yourself, taking all the evidence yourself, never believe, like, you know, everything you're told, so to speak. And yeah, just basically be objective about things, and don't let your emotions run away with you, you know what I mean? Just gotta try and apply logic every once in a while, and I believe that'll steer you straight. For all you Vulcans watching this video, you guys already know that. But yeah, thank you for listening to this sort of podcast, I guess. I've thrown some pretty visuals on of like an Idris flying around, and I'll get some other footage on there for you too, but some B-roll, so to speak, so you guys have something to watch. But for most of you guys who are doing something else while listening to this video, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, evening, you know what I mean? Morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night kind of thing. And yeah, so yeah, thank you guys for watching the videos and coming back and commenting. Now, we have like 90 comments on that Polaris video, and I try to respond to as many as possible, and the vast majority are positive, and that's great, you know what I mean? And for me, personally, the one comment that shone the most, and if you're watching this video, the guy who left that comment, I just want to say thank you, it made my day. He's like, oh, I was starting to hate my Polaris, but now I get it after watching that video. And to me, that makes me happy. It's one Polaris that won't be melted down, one less that's still going to be kicking around when the game comes out, hopefully. So yeah. Now, I know this project's taken a while. My advice is hang in there, right? If I can do 10 years of waiting and you're new to the project, I'm pretty sure you can maybe do one and a half, maybe 2. You know what I mean? I believe this project is nearing 1.0, which is beta, and after that there's not going to be any more wipes. So basically consider it the full game, in my opinion. So yeah. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe and all that voodoo, basically to let me know that to make more videos. Leave that like. That's basically the make more videos, give me more entertainment now kind of thing. And subscribing means, hey, I'm gonna come back and watch another video. That's what it means to me. So yeah, thank you guys. And for anyone who's looking for an organization to join, if you want to just come play Star Citizen with me and my crew and hunt some pirates together, just make sure you're a lawful player who is on the right side of the UEE. Then you're more than welcome to join my organization, hang out in my Discord, and shoot some pirates together, man a capital ship gun, you know what I mean? Or go through some combat lessons, whether it's ground combat, aerial combat, and or anything really. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching yet again the video, or you know the drill, citizens. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.